Hey everyone, today we're joined by Tara Quehl, Product Marketing Director at Demandbase. And I'm really excited for this episode because I proclaimed Tara the inventor of the demo library. Don't know if she was exactly the first to do it, but we've now said it, we've put it out there. And ultimately every customer, I think, who sees this Demandbase demo library, you're probably familiar with it, just falls in love with it and says, one day when we get to a stage, I want to build this. So I wanted to get Tara on and talk about how she first came up with the demo library, kind of the building blocks to put it together, and then finally what else you have in mind for Demandbase.
Hey, sounds good. I'm happy to be here. A lot of pressure, I feel like, since we're now proclaiming that I'm the first to build the demo library, and I actually think it may have been Nick. So we will see.
Theirs was an integration library. It was a little different. So
yeah, maybe ours is more robust. We'll claim that ours is more robust. So yeah, let me talk about the demo library first, and then we can kind of get into some other things that we've been up to. But essentially, like, what we wanted to do was build almost like a learning environment for our prospects and customers where they could come and see different features. They could understand different stories, different verticals, and how we're using our tools to help them get through their everyday lives as marketing and sales folks. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So yeah, the way that we structured it is all around use case. So we have kind of like our hierarchical way we think about Demandbase is build, find, engage, and close. So you're either building target account lists, you're engaging your accounts, you're finding them, which could be like an expansion of your ICP, and then like you're closing them. So that was kind of how we thought about the use cases. And then we broke it down by product. So we have it broken down by like our ABX platform, by advertising, by data, and then by sales, which I think for a customer or prospect who's coming in, that's a fairly easy way to figure out like, okay, what do I want to look at? Do I want to look at like the baseline experience, which is what I would consider like our account-based overview right here? Do I want to look at it by advertising? Maybe I'm somebody who focuses on advertising specifically. Maybe I'm a seller and I want to see what our Salesforce iframe looks like. So I would use the sales intelligence one. I support financial services. So I created an interactive tour all around commercial banking and getting ready to build out one for asset management and insurance, and then another one for fintech. And so that's a little bit about our demo library. I think just to wrap it up, again, we have like some very specific use cases. Then we have some broader ones by products and features. And we really started to build this out post rebrand launch in an effort to kind of destigmatize that our platform could be confusing or overwhelming, and really make it simple for customers and prospects to understand what we do.
As I mentioned, love the way you broke it out and have them in quick little bites. I'm curious, when you were setting up this demo library, was it, one person created sort of the gold standard demo and everyone cloned it and then created their own version for different features? Or did you split it up? Like you mentioned, you did the financial services one. Did you split it up by different departments and everyone sort of took on their own feature set?
So mainly our product marketing group handled creating them. And the way that our product marketing group is broken out is by product. So we have somebody who supports ABX, somebody who supports ads, somebody who supports data, and somebody who supports sales. We did have a lot of support from our SEs, and I know that they are constantly using them in demos. And we did have some input from like our advertising and our sales counterparts. Like once the demos were created, we just wanted to make sure that they felt good with the story and that what we were trying to get across made sense to them. So yeah, I'd say that the product marketing group really handled kind of like the brunt of the work and like the tactical execution, but we had definitely help from multiple other folks.
Now that you've got this demo library up, it sounds like a lot of the companies using it. What are some other new use cases you're thinking about using interactive demos?
So EMEA is on our radar, and making sure that they have specific use cases to where they sit in the world and what's important to them. GDPR, privacy, and security is really important. And so I think there'll be some sort of interactive tour on how we protect our data and what that looks like. I'd say we're definitely really closely tied to our PMs over here. And so trying to make sure that we have upcoming tours based on product releases and things that are kind of our gold releases or big coming to the markets will be really important. If there's folks who are trying to build out a library, definitely look at like, what is your product roadmap? What is the vision? Like, what's happening in the market right now? You could do tours on all of those things and how your product supports each one of those use cases.
If anyone wanted to build out their own library or just getting started the first time with Navattic, what were some 1 or 2 tips you'd have for Navattic newbies?
Utilize your CS team and you and Randy, because you all are super helpful and really supportive. I'd say, just make sure that like you're getting insights and feedback from other folks like across the organization, and what are they here, especially if you in marketing are the ones who are building out the tours. Like, get closer to the people who have customer and prospect feedback so that you know you're building something that's actually going to like make a difference and an impact and that people care about. So that's probably what I would focus on, and a couple tips for newbies.
As far as getting that feedback, is it easiest just to, create something for people to review and then send along to the sales team or SE team and say, what did I miss? What do you think? Or do you storyboard or plan it out before and then get their feedback? Or is it kind of a case-by-case basis?
Yeah, so I feel like the hardest part of Navattic is actually like my job, right? It's like our job to come up with the story, and like grabbing the screenshots and actually utilizing the tool is a really simple part. And so what I've done is I've built a super simple outline, and it's like, okay, am I hitting the right points? Are there points that I'm missing? Are there things that you think would be important to touch on? And so I basically go with like a high level story framework. And that's what's worked for me. I think it would be very hard for me to build a tour without having that, because it's kind of like creating content, right? It's like you can edit and you can cut and you can reduce and you can expand and do like all those different sections. And I think without a story, without some sort of framework, it's harder to do that like on the fly, and especially like within the platform. I want to know like where I'm going and what type of screen grabs I need to get, and what is the content going to look like. It's a lot easier when you already have kind of that outline you're working with.
And last question for today. I know we talked a little before the call about some email campaigns you guys are running. Curious any results that you've seen from either the demo library or those other use cases.
I recently stood up a nurture campaign for our folks who are in aware and qualified stage, trying to get them to be a little bit more educated about our products and what we have to offer and how we can help them in the market. And before I jumped on here, I looked in the dashboard and basically saw a huge spike the first week of my launch, which is super exciting to see. Because, and I think like historically, most of my numbers are low. I had some like higher numbers like initially during the launch and stuff, but my page is an industry specific page. I think if we jump back to like our ABX, our overview, our high level advertising and sales like product pages, those will probably be like double, triple my numbers. But it's definitely really interesting to see a spike like post an execution of something, right? So in my case, I launched a nurture campaign where I'm feeding in our tours. I'm trying to think other ways that we've used it. So another way that we've used the tours is on our integrations page. We have it on the Salesforce App Exchange. We leverage our SDRs to send out the tours, which I think is a really great way to get folks like warmed up to our services and help them understand like a day in the life. And so, yeah, I'm pretty impressed with my nurture campaign. I've also had a few inbounds, which for anyone who is in enterprise and financial services, that is very exciting. Email is still alive. And yeah, so pretty pumped about that.
Well, that's super exciting. As someone who's done nurture campaigns, I know how validating it is when people engage with it, interact. So awesome to see that not only were people clicking on the demo, but also then reacting well to it and coming inbound.
Yeah, totally.
Well, that's all for today. Thanks so much for joining us, Tara. This was awesome.